Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, I am back with a pre-release kit from Modern Horizons 3 for us to open up and build a sealed deck with. Let's get started. So you'll notice that this pre-release kit has already been opened because unfortunately my local game store was totally sold out by the end of pre-release weekend, which is honestly great for them. Just a little bummer for me. I have to wait until all the events are over in order to buy a kit to bring home. I mean, I could have registered for an event and then dropped immediately, but I really didn't want to do that, so yeah, that is why we don't have a sealed one for today, but the good news is we have this pre-release kit, which is one that my husband played at an event that I did not go to, and we'll be able to build it as if it were brand new. I do know that the deck he built ended up going 3-0 at his event, but I don't know anything about the deck list. He's going to text me a picture later of what his deck list was, so I think it'll be interesting to compare what we build versus what he came up with. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. We've got our little spin down die. And the deck building insert. Oh, cool. It's like a tourism poster for Bloodstained Mire. We've got some Phyrexian writing down here. Did they do these for all of the fetch lands or just Bloodstained Mire? I'm curious to see what else there is. Alright. So I believe the stack of cards is all sorted by color already. But let's lay them out and start looking through. So there's our colorless and the white. We've got our blue, black, red, and the green. A lot of gold cards. The artifacts. And we'll just put the lands on top here. And then everything else we can set aside. I think I'll actually put the artifacts up with the colorless cards. Alright. So I guess I'll just go through color by color and look through each of the cards. Yeah, I would love to play Ulamog if it seems at all feasible. And I think I'll set the rares aside for now so that we can look at all of them together. Let's move on to the white. Okay. Let's take a look at the blue. Looks like this one was the promo card. So I saw a lot of energy in blue. Let's move on to the black. and on to the red. All right. And then taking a look at the green. And then our multicolored. Alright. And then finally, the lands. So I'm going to move these aside for now, and let's take a closer look at all of the rares together. Alright. So as we were going through each color, I was thinking about maybe two potential decks here. One that stood out for me a lot was blue-red energy, and the other is basically any eldrazi that we could play to make Ulamog happen. I was thinking maybe red-green for that. So I think I would like to try and lay out both of those and see how they look. And let's start with the energy deck. It is possible we could flex into white as well. There were a few different flicker abilities in there, which might be good for replicating the energy creation effect when creatures enter the battlefield. And we also have Kaith, which can proliferate energy. So definitely something to think about. So we'll start with blue-red and possibly white, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so that is 19. And I did start adding in a little bit of white. So I'll go through and see what other white cards we might be able to add in. Alright, so that is 24, which would leave us with 16 land. And I think that would be okay because we have a fairly inexpensive deck here. Pretty much everything costs 3 or less. But my concern is that it doesn't really do very much. We do have ways of producing energy, and certainly some ways to spend it, but I'm not really seeing a big payoff or anything that really draws us towards energy strongly, aside from just having a bunch of cards that make it. We don't even really have that much removal, honestly, so I'm not incredibly confident in this deck. I'm not really seeing anything that really wins us the game. Even our most expensive creature is just a 2/2, so we don't have that big top-end creature that I would hope to have. So I think I'll move on from this deck, and let's take a look at the Eldrazi deck instead. Oh yeah, we're not gonna count the land right now. That is 17. Most of our creatures are very expensive, and we don't have that many creatures overall. A lot of what we have left in green is also expensive to cast. So we might want to think about another color. We've got a mana producing eldrazi in green-blue, so that seems pretty good. So maybe we can pull the blue back out and see what's in there. So that is 24. Let me quickly look at the lands as well. So we don't have any lands for these 3 colors, but we do have a few that are for 2 of them. So maybe we'll take those. I want to cut 1 card, I think. We should be okay for casting Ulamog, I hope, based on things like the Snapping Voidcraw, or things that produce the Eldrazi spawn tokens. This is our next most expensive card. I like that it's a 5/5 flyer that taps down your opponent's things, but it may be worth it to eliminate the high mana cost from the deck. Yeah. Maybe this is where I would land with this. Maybe the Kozilek's unsealing isn't really doing that much. Ulamog's the only thing that would draw us cards off of it. And only 4 cards would trigger those Eldrazi spawns. So maybe that's not great. But yeah. Let me look at what my husband ended up with for this sealed pool, and we can talk about that a little bit, and then we can wrap up. Interesting. So he was also in Teamer, but took a very different direction than I did. So let's see. Just these 2. And then all 3 hydras. I definitely overlooked the hydras. They are reach and trample, which is great, and the mana cost can be pretty much whatever you want. And with bestow, this can still become a creature even when the creature it's enchanting dies. So, I don't know why I didn't put that in there. I guess I always want to think about hydras costing as much as possible, so I consider them a very expensive card, but they can really land anywhere you need. So, yeah, I probably should have had those in there. Those. Okay. All of these. And then that. We did have all of the same lands. That was also there. And then this. And 2 of these. Alright, so this is definitely a lot more top heavy than my build. And fewer lands actually as well. Though Kozilek's Unsealing definitely has a lot more targets here, so that seems good. There are these flip lands though, so yeah, maybe you really can get away with running fewer lands overall. So like I mentioned, this deck ended up going 3-0 and actually only ever dropped 1 game for the entire event. But yeah, I think that will do it for today. I really appreciate you joining me while we experimented with a couple sealed decks from a Modern Horizons 3 pre-release kit. I'm curious to know what you think, and if you would have made any different decisions if you were building this sealed pool. Or just let me know how your experience with Modern Horizons 3 has been so far. I would love to hear all about it. And if you enjoyed this video, it would mean so much to me if you would hit that like button, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll be back with new Magic the Gathering ASMR videos every Monday and Friday. But, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.